some good words of wisdom. So, you know, I would like to go ahead and start like we would start all of our meetings. That'll be with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to go ahead and have our flag right there. If you guys would go ahead and stand, we'll go ahead and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We are very, very excited to have you part of this call today, and most importantly, our entrepreneur that we've invited. But we've got a lot of things that we want to cover with you today, and I would like to start off with, let me just make sure where I'm at here. I would like to just welcome all of you and let you know that the next 90 minutes or so, maybe only 75 minutes, depending on the questions, will be filled with great information from our entrepreneur. Each month we do this, and we invite various entrepreneurs to share their story, their tidbits, things that can be immediate takeaways for you to be able to take on your day and to be successful or more successful in your operations of business, in your home life, as well as just social activities. So we will be having this on our YouTube channel, and you will all get a copy of this recording if you've registered through our chamber database. If you've just gone on directly through the link for the Zoom call without registering, then you will not get that. So we encourage you always to use the system that we have in place. I would like to do some shameless plugs on some events that are coming up. Our golf classic will be October 29th, and you will see that there are many different businesses that have already jumped on board to sponsor this event. We're gracious and very pleased that so many that we had to go to 2 slides, and all these businesses have jumped in and are doing a golf package with us. We do have a couple extra foursomes. There are 2 foursomes that are left. So if anyone is interested in participating, please, please, please let us know. Also, there is an opportunity to help us invite some of our healthcare workers, the people that have been so essential during this COVID situation. And in a way that we can do this, we're selling some raffle tickets, and you do not need to be present to win, but it's an opportunity for you to be able to win one of these 3 prizes. And if you buy more than 1 ticket, you could win all 3 tickets or all 3 prizes. So you'll notice that the tickets, an individual ticket is $25. There's 6 tickets for $100 and 40 tickets for $500. Again, what that will help us do is be able to bring some healthcare workers to golf that day and enjoy the day with us. I am so very excited at this point to be able to introduce one of our business partners. And this is the city of Corona that I'm going to be introducing. Her name is Jessica Gonzalez. She is the Economic Development Director for the city of Corona, fairly new to the city because she joined us just a few months ago, but her intense background is so impressive. When I first met her, it was on the review panel. She was one of the finalists, and fortunately, the city went with the recommendation and she came on board with us. She is so well known for collaborative partnerships throughout the state of California. She brings a wealth of knowledge, and she's like crazy being like busy and getting so much done all the time. Her ingenuity and action-oriented achievements speak for themselves, but I'm going to let her share real quick. Please welcome Jessica.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Bobby, for that very kind introduction. I'm excited to be here. The Coffee with an Entrepreneurs, I have to say, I mean, I've only been here 3 months, but it is certainly one of my favorite events. It's such a fantastic way to be energized, to get those insights and wisdom to start the week off right, but also to mobilize and make sure you're moving forward with your entrepreneurial journey. So I'm excited to hear about Barry this morning. Also want to share with you some other ways, as Bobby mentioned, there's a lot that we are doing, and it's all rooted in collaboration and the fantastic partnerships that we have here in Corona. So of course, in addition to these Coffees with an Entrepreneurs, that is a partnership event with the Chamber of Commerce, we also are planting seeds to build an entrepreneurship environment here, an ecosystem in Corona. So I want to share with you that through our partnership with federal and state agencies, we can provide free virtual business counseling. And so this is provided through our partnership with SCORE, and I'll put it in the chat, their website. But I want to make sure that all of you, whether you are already sort of down the line with your business concept or you're an aspiring entrepreneur, whatever stage of your development you are in, that you can take advantage of this free counseling. These are all former business executives, very seasoned, very knowledgeable, that are now sharing their expertise with our business community. And this month in October, they're doing something very unique. It's called Transformation Tuesdays. So every Tuesday at 5 p.m. it's on-demand mentorship. So I will put that in the chat so everyone can participate. If you don't have time to schedule, not a problem, because it's on demand on Tuesdays. Every other day you do have to schedule, but for the month of October, they're doing something unique. Also in November, and I'll share more as we are finalizing details, but in November, we're proud to be partnered with state and federal agencies as well as the Entrepreneur Association in our first Spanish webinar for aspiring entrepreneurs. So we'll have more details on this. This is November 17th, 5 to 7 p.m. So we are looking to build capacity across the various sectors here in our community. So I'm excited to hear Barry now and excited to see how we can continue growing our business base here in Corona. Thank you. Back to you, Bobby.
Okay, and Jessica, could I go ahead? We've got a slide up here for next week's, or the 26th for the manufacturers.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing on that real quick?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So next week in a couple of weeks, October 26th, we are going to be hosting here, once again, a partnership event, hosting a manufacturing webinar, Manufacturing Opportunities and Careers that Inspire. So this is brought to you in partnership with the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and also going to feature presentations from CMTC, which is California's Manufacturing Technology Consulting, our partners at Launch Apprenticeship Network, and we're going to even hear from our very own Fender Corporation here in Corona, as Ed McGee, their Executive Vice President, shares their story, how they're investing in their workforce and how that is leading to success, how they have been resilient during this economy. So very inspirational. And this is very much geared towards that next generation workforce, so our students. We are working with our partners here that you see on the screen to get the word out, to mobilize, to encourage students to participate, and also for manufacturers to hear about opportunities that are available to them to connect with workforce. So we are excited to be hosting this on October 26th, 9 to 10:30 a.m. Please RSVP, don't miss out. This is Manufacturing Month, this month of October. We are celebrating our manufacturers. We have over 400 here in Corona, and we're excited to be able to continue to grow this critical industry sector.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. Our next slide, I just want to mention that every Wednesday, we have a chamber business briefing. We have different topics that are brought on. We're very excited that our school district has chose to reopen. So that's going to be our topic. We're going to have that shared with us. And right prior to the schools, we're going to have a healthcare update, especially healthcare in Corona, with our CEO for Corona Regional Medical Center, Mark Uffer. He will share about the current COVID situation as well, update on their expansions and some things that are going on. The school district will be from Dr. John Pablo Sanchez, and he will be sharing all the different things that are going on with the hybrid of the schools going back into full session and allowing the students to actually have some socialization and what they put into protocols. So that's this Wednesday. The following Wednesday is the 21st, and Jessica, that was just on sharing, she is going to have a whole segment dedicated to her. She is going to be sharing what's going on with Corona, specific to economic development, the jobs that are coming into Corona as well. I believe she's outreaching to see if the gentleman is available from the state of California to be able to shed some light on some things. Regardless, on the 21st, Jessica is going to have an awesome event that you will definitely want to plug into. Please note that these are case sensitive for our Corona Chamber business briefings. And then our next slide is, I wanted to just tell you how pleased we are that our Congressman, Ken Calvert, will be speaking this Friday at our Good Morning Corona breakfast. This will be a hybrid where if you want to be in person, we welcome you. We just had a change of location because we want to have additional folks to be able to be in attendance. So we are at the IHOP outside, and it's all set up. It's going to be beautiful. If you have any questions, please be sure and let us know. But today, if you go in and put the promo code of Monday, you will save $15 from the entry fee. So again, that will be outdoors. It'll be a location change. It is over at the IHOP off of Auto Center Drive. Both virtual and in-person tickets are available. So I've done enough of our commercials, and now I'm so excited to bring the main event, because I've been waiting to have Barry on as a entrepreneur for us. I had the pleasure of meeting him through John Wygant, who was kind enough to invite me into one of their networking breakfasts where Barry shared, and I was mesmerized. I was so focused on taking notes and listening, and every opportunity I get a chance to visit with him, it's just enlightens my day tremendously. Barry is the president and CEO of BEK Impact Firm. It's a leadership and social impact consulting firm that trains and coaches leaders on how to get their teams aligned and drive greater impact for a change for their organization and community. What I love about Barry is his passion to serve others. I encourage that you shut off all your cell phones, close the door, take your copious notes, because you are going to be enlightened. You're going to hear from the son of a preacher man. You're going to hear from a man that has tremendous respect in the business community and in life in general. Phenomenal speaker, mentor, coach, and a dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barry E. Knight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bobby, for the opportunity to share with peers around Corona. I tell you, I love Corona. I love the chamber. Thank you also, John Wygant, for introducing me to Corona Chamber and some of the wonderful members that I've been able to meet over the years and the events that I've attended. And so I'm very honored, very excited to be here with you. And we're just going to jump right in. I operate at a higher level, and not to spiritualize this, but I believe entrepreneurship, and I'm going to share my story and give you a couple of points. And I'm going to just be a coach today. That's who I am. And I love to build people to cause them to expand their capacity to see and pursue when it comes to growing their business, their company, their organization. And one of the things that I can tell you, especially now with what we're dealing with this year, let's just talk about the elephant in the boardroom. There's so much going on. This is a year many of us as business leaders and owners have not experienced before. Many of our businesses have been shaken quite a bit, I'm sure, financially and with your teams. And there's this thing of uncertainty. We really don't know what is going to happen next. And then I kept hearing people talk about uncertainty, uncertain. Well, there is uncertainty. Let's just be real. But as business leaders, we need to also be certain. We need to be certain. We just finished this great finals series. I'm a basketball fan and Laker fan. Let me just put it out there. I'm a Laker fan, diehard, born and raised. Okay, and I remember the fifth game. There was 2 something seconds on the clock, right? And so when it comes to being a coach, being a leader, I often share this. And if you're taking notes, Bobby said, take copious notes. Whether you're writing them down, I'm still a physical guy, use a pen and paper, or writing them on an iPad, or using your smartphone, your dumb phone, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you're taking some copious notes. And I often tell leaders, you have to practice clarity and conviction over certainty and consensus. If you're taking notes, you have to practice clarity and conviction over certainty and consensus. Now, what do I mean by that? 2 something seconds in the fifth game, and the Laker coach, Frank Vogel, had to make a decision. He was uncertain about a lot of things. And if you're trying to lead by, I don't even know why I'm jumping into this right here. It's just there, right? If we're trying to get certainty before we make decisions, then there's a larger chance that we will not make that decision. So we have to back out and kind of look at, say, what are we clear on? What are we clear on? We have to look at historical data. And during these times, we have to look at historical data. Has America been through crisis before? As a matter of fact, some of the greatest inventions that we have been afforded to partake in and to utilize today, and that has shaped our country, were created. Ideas were formed right during tragedy and the toughest, most challenging times. And all my friends in Corona, business leaders, that's what I want to encourage you just to start off, is that we are in, I was doing a group coaching session with some business owners and those that are starting their initiative. They're all over the world. And I said something, I said, I believe COVID-19 is probably one of the greatest things that it could ever happen to us as business leaders. I absolutely believe it. And in the chat section, people are like, what? Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. I mean, I was just getting lambasted. It was, I almost had to log off because it's pretty bad. And then someone was kind enough to at least ask the question, why did you say that? And I've lost people. I lost one of my dearest aunts to COVID in May. She was like a big sister, like a mom to me. One of my favorite aunties. Don't tell my other 6 aunts I said that, but she was one of my favorite, and I loved her so much, and she passed away. Okay? The reason I say that this is great, because it causes us to look at things that we probably would have never looked at before. Causes us to notice things, those simple things. I can guarantee you that many of us that were working, finally figured out, you know what, I don't have to work as hard to be as successful. And we started to kind of pivot and shift and become more creative and innovative. So, and not saying COVID in and of itself is a good thing. That's not what I'm saying. It is a horrible disease, a virus, and I would not wish it on my worst enemy. I hate the disease. I hate it's here. However, it is here. And the fact that it is here, and it's probably not going to go anywhere. We don't know vaccine, whatever. I don't want to get into that. It's here now. Now, the question I want everybody to think about is, what are you going to do now that it's here? I just wanted to start off with that. Some of the greatest change moments in America have been through entrepreneurs, through crisis. And I want you to think about the history. Think about World War I and World War II. After World War II, there were so many different inventions that came out of the Ford, Mustang came out, the housing development. All of these things that we know today and we experience and benefit from today came from crisis. So just ask yourself, where am I in crisis? Am I becoming more creative and innovative, or am I becoming more uncertain? And I hope through my brief chat today that something will break in you, whether it's a revelation or something that you've thought of before that you kind of put on the shelf and were afraid to touch and to think about again. I'm hoping that something will be revealed to you today. So again, my name is Barry E. Knight. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called BEK Impact Company. We're a leadership and social impact company, work with a lot of different county governments, small businesses on how to get your team aligned. How do you get your teams aligned so that you can lead greater impact and change, so that you can be that leader that drives greater outcomes? And I also want you to be the leader that people love to follow. How do you become that leader that just attracts people? We're not just talking about your team. We're talking about clients, customers, and whatever, the people that you're serving. How do you do that? So that's what our company does. We help you to get your teams aligned or get your organization aligned around the right systems and behavior so that you can drive greater change for your organization and your communities. So my story begins like this. In the year 2005, I launched out and my wife and I began a church in the city of Moreno Valley. And as Bobby had graciously stated, I am the son of a preacher man. Remember that song. And my grandfather was a pastor, my dad was a pastor. And if you know anything about the African-American community, if you have a charismatic, outspoken kid whose father father is a pastor, everybody's looking at that kid and saying, you have to do it. You're going to follow in your father's footsteps. For years and years and years, all I heard was, you're going to pastor. And it began to shape a paradigm of who I was to be. And so while I was a kid with many dreams, I was a kid in school that said, as long as I'm getting a 2.0, why am I going to struggle at a 4.0? I was a perfect 2.8 student and loved it. I was proud to not get on the honor roll. I looked at those kids and they were working late hours, early in the morning. And I'm like, okay, well, the teacher said I can turn it in late. So why am I going to stress off it? I was that kid, and my kids are at home. I should not be saying this too loud because they're hearing me, but neither here nor there. So I was precocious. I always wanted to do what I believed I could do. But again, I began to kind of formulate my life. My life became formulated by what other people thought I should be doing. And I want you to kind of think about that even for yourself. Are you living the life that you have envisioned, that you're called to do, or living the life that people have called you to do? Are you running your business as people tell you to do it, or as you envision that it should be? And so in 2005, again, I began to launch the church, and I launched it based off of, it was almost like, get married, you'll fall in love later. And while I loved speaking, and while I loved teaching the people on Sundays, Wednesdays, and other days, discipleship days that we had at the church, I did not fall in love with pastoring in and of itself. Pastoring required a lot of work from me and from people. And if you know anything about ministry, you can just imagine what that was like for me. And I kept, at the same time, having vision that I was going to travel the world and build leaders, government leaders, business leaders, CEOs at the highest level. And they were going to, listen to me and transform their life. And they were going to impact their organizations in the world and their communities. But I could not break that paradigm that I was stuck in, because when you're stuck in a paradigm, you tend to see the world according through that lens, and you reduce everything within that box that you see. And again, I don't know if any of you all can relate to this. So long story short, 2009 was a bad year, bad time, bad season for many of us. And during that time, I was full-time pastoring with this huge dream, but I still felt stuck and so far away from that dream. But in 2009, the economy crashed. And our giving in the church just went down substantially. I'm talking about over 75% income. So I tried to go back to work, go back to my former organizations. I was in sales, I was doing, sales management, and they were shutting down. All of the locations were shutting down. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. The church, I didn't want to, have the church even try to pay me. I told the board, don't worry, I'm young. I can go get a job. Could not get a job, folks. And I'm being very transparent here, because when you have a dream, you have to know for sure that that dream is real, and you have to be committed no matter what to the dream that's within you. And it was in 2009, when the economy was tanking, that I had this divine vision that I was going to literally travel the world and get paid for how I think and how I speak. That's what dropped within me. Can you imagine me going to my wife as a broke husband? I had no money at this time. We were losing our house. We had lost 2 cars. Shucks, we lost 1 car twice. They took it, I got it back, and they took it again because I couldn't afford it. And then I come to my wife and I say, honey, I know things are bleak. I know it looks like we're just losing everything. Actually, it doesn't look like it. We are losing everything. But I just had this inspiration that I'm going to get paid for how I think and how I speak. Now, husbands, I don't know about you, but if you could just imagine going to your spouse and saying, while you're broke and while the house is going into foreclosure and while your wife's car is being taken off of the driveway lot, but you have a vision, but you have something that you're so convicted by. Uncertainties, yes, but you have clarity and conviction. More than anything, I figured out in that moment in 2009 that I don't know, who's done this before. I don't know what path to follow. All I know is I was clear and I was convicted. So much so to what I saw became more real to me than what was. I didn't have income. As a matter of fact, there were many times in our home where the water was shut off. Now, I hate telling this story, but I'm a very transparent guy, and I don't believe I can really help anyone by overlooking some important points, because maybe someone has gone through this, or you're going through this in your business. Many times the water was shut off. Many times the lights went out, and we had to just sit in the dark. And we had 2 kids at the time. And when the water went out, my wife was the only one with income. She's a nurse. She would have to go to the store, folks. Talking about 2009, 2010, 2011. And buy bottled water, heat it up in the microwave when the electricity was on, just so we could bathe, just so we could wash and get our kids cleaned because the water was off. There's times that I had to go to my wife and say, hey, wife, I'm going out to look for a job, but I don't have gas money. And I had to ask my wife for gas money. You talk about a humbling experience. Now, maybe it was pride, but it was very embarrassing for me at that time. And then you start to question yourself, folks, of, is this what I should be doing? You start to hear people talking about what you should do. And as I mentioned before, sometimes we lean toward what others are calling us to do, and we lose the clarity and conviction of what we're called to do. But for some reason, while my wife's mom was saying, she was so sweet, she would never tell me, boy, you need a job. You need to just hang up those dreams and get a job. She would say, you know what, I was looking in the newspaper, or I saw online that such and such is hiring. Have you called them? You should call them. I don't know if anybody has any family like that. They're so sweet. They're so nice. They won't ever tell you directly, but that's what happened. And year after year, I struggled with this dichotomy of just getting the job and building this vision that I was clear on and convicted by. So much so that even those little odd jobs that I eventually found in 2011, it was something I felt I was like cheating myself. And so long story short, again, this is a story, my story. I just want to share it. Hopefully it inspires, and we'll get to some points, and then I'm going to be done. So I kept planning some things, and finally I said, let me start building and start doing what I'm becoming. I can't just have it here. If someone was to call me right now, would I be prepared to serve them? Because you can have a vision all you want, but I want you to think about it. You want your vision to grow. You want your business to grow. You want your organization to grow. You want your team. But if it were to grow right now, I want you to ask yourself the question, is your structure strong enough to handle the increase? I want you to think about that. Is your structure, if you had 10 more clients, if you had $10,000 more a month, do you have the structure and the systems in place to manage it? So I knew that I did not have the systems. I knew I didn't have the structure. So I began to build. Long story short, folks, 2012, I was working with Riverside County Children's Service Division, and I created a program that was successful for them. And I wasn't thinking about getting a contract. I knew nothing about getting a contract and never knew I could get a contract. I was just doing work. I was just serving, giving what I knew I had and just offering it for free. Just saying, hey, listen, I can help you with that. They asked, and I said, absolutely. Again, never thought. But through this synchronicity is one of my favorite words. Synchronicity is where you're starting to do one thing, but other things are being activated in another realm. And all of a sudden you find yourself in the same room with that very thing. You didn't even know to ask for it. You didn't even know to believe for it, but yet it came to you. All you knew is you desired this big ooga booga vision, but you did not know the path or the steps to take to get there. It's just by believing and moving toward it, doing what you know to do. So I began to design trainings, and long story short, Riverside County gave me a $75,000 contract. And I wish I could say it just blew up from there. It didn't. It went up and then went down, because $75,000 when you're probably close to $100,000 in debt at that time, it's nothing. You're broke still. But I knew, I said, okay, I got one. Now I need to get the next. and the next. To where we are in 2020. We're definitely not where we want to be, because this is not a destination, it is a journey. And you have stops, but you get transfers. It's like a train, right? You want to get from the West Coast to the East Coast. You're going to have many stops and you're going to have many transfers. So you're just not going to stay on that same train. You have to understand, you're not going to stay on that one track. You're going to be on, but then you're going to have to get off. See, right now, some of us are having to get off in COVID. We're having to revamp and pivot and shift and come up with new ideas for this new season. I don't want you to think as it's change. It's just a new season. It's a new train that you have to get on to get to where you want to be. And you're on another transfer. This is a transfer right now. You're just getting a transfer and waiting for the next train to come. That's where we are right now. And so I'm in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to where I can proudly say that my wife doesn't worry anymore about utilities being shut off. Let me say it that way. We don't worry about vacationing and going where we want to go and taking care of our 3 children, wonderful, beautiful children that we have. And so it is vision. And let me give you the 4 things. This is what we teach our clients. We do a lot of one-on-one coaching and team coaching to help organizations, again, get aligned with their vision. And what I'm telling you, leaders, just 2 things you have to do, and put it as number 1, 1A, 1B. One of the things you have to define what you want to see. And then number 2, define what you need to solve. Number 1, define what you want to see. But then you have to, number 2, define what you need to solve. When I look at organizations, many organizations struggle even coming up with a vision. They'll call me, Barry, can you help me? We're stuck. And here's what I tell people. I'm going to say this. It's going to be so rude. It's going to be mean. It's going to be disheartening. It's going to be a gut punch. You're going to say, Barry, why did you even say that? I can't believe you said that to us. That's so rude. We're never going to invite you back again. I'm going to take a risk anyway. Here's what I tell organizations. Whether your organization is healthy, dysfunctional, or stuck, it always acts like its leader. Let me say it again. Whether your organization is healthy, dysfunctional, or stuck, it always acts like its leader. How is your organization acting right now? What is the personality of your business? Who are you pointing to as the issue of how your organization is acting? And when is the last time you see, that's what I'm doing right now. I have people who surround me. I have a business coach who just gets into me because my business is only as big or as small as me. Your business, I want you to look at it. The business you're leading right now, it is the size of you. I want my business to grow. Why isn't my business growing? Wrong question. Where do I need to grow? How am I hindering the growth of my business? If I got out of the way, what more would be possible? So 2 things. We want to know what we need to see. Specifically, with clarity, what do we need to see? What is it we need to see? What is the vision? And I always look at 12-month spans. Look at 12 months. What is the vision over the next 12 months? Where do you want to be in 12 months? What do you want to say about your company, your organization, your business in the next 12 months? And if you have a team, remember this statement: vision speaks different languages at every organizational level. Vision speaks different languages at every organizational level. Usually the board of the CEO, the executive team comes up with this marvelous, amazing vision, but it doesn't translate down. It doesn't cascade well down to your line workers or your front end staff, who normally hear vision as pressure, more work, longer hours, change, they don't like that. So when we're coming up with the vision of what we want to see, we need to make sure it speaks the same language, or it speaks the language of the people that need to execute it. You need to look at the different realms, whether you have the executive level and the board level, and then you have your management level, then you have your supervisory level, and then you have your line staff or your frontline workers, and then you have your customers, your clients, or the people that you serve with your product and your service. So how does the organization communicate its vision to where it's interpreted correctly in the language of that level, so that it's not, when you speak and you're sharing that vision, that it's coming across great at this level from which it was created, but it's being misinterpreted when it's cascading down to the other levels. We want to make sure that we understand that vision speaks different languages at every organizational level. Then we want to look, once we've defined what we want to see, we've defined what we want to see, 12 months. What do you want to see? Where do you want to be? What does that look like? Revenue? What is the team? What are the systems and the structures? A lot of people are talking about scale. I want my business to scale. I had an early morning conversation with my coach on Saturday, and I was looking at scale and grow. And you can't scale and grow without systems to support. Let me say that again. You cannot scale and grow your business until you first have the support systems. And this is what we work with organizations on. This is what, if you're in need, I'm going to shoot you my calendar link. Get on the phone with me. Let's have a 45 minutes. It's free. I want to chat with you, find out where you are, where you want to go. I can work with you. It's called the STEP process, by the way, is what I'm going through. STEP, see and solve. That's where we are right now. Then we look at, I'm going to move on. Then we look at your systems and how your organization thinks, how you're thinking about growth. We're going to look at your organization from the standpoint of how it runs, of how you get customers, marketing systems, because systems think for your organization. So the T in the STEP process is thinking. We're looking at how you're approaching, how you're thinking about growth. We're going to ask you some systems-driven questions, and I'm going to ask you a couple of things. If you want to grow right now, how many of you, I see a couple of videos that are up. How many of you are business owners and you have a vision for your company? Raise your hand so I can see you have a vision. You have a vision. Most everybody have a vision. How many of you all are kind of stuck in some areas? You'll be honest. I have a vision, but I'm kind of stuck. I see some thumbs going up. Kind of stuck in some areas. I want you to ask the question right now. And this is going to sound funny, but what does stuck look like? What is stuck? Because a lot of us want to get unstuck, but we won't define what's really causing us to be stuck. Because as I mentioned before, a lot of times being stuck is a matter of us. Whether your organization is dysfunctional, healthy, or stuck, it always acts like its leader. Give you a moment to process. So we're looking at what is causing us to be stuck. Is it a capacity issue? Is it an external issue? Maybe it's a policy that has changed in your city. Maybe it's an internal issue. How about this? Maybe you hired the wrong person and you have not fired them yet. Oops, did I say that out loud? Maybe you're holding on to someone and you have not adequately defined what their role is, and so they're doing what they think they should do, but it's not getting the results that you want because you haven't taken time to sit with them and to train them and to give them the results that should be given. Maybe we're so task-oriented that we're not outcomes-oriented. Just think about how the systems and the structure of your organization. Think about how you think about your organization. And then write this question down. Ask the question, why despite our best desire, why is it despite our best desire, why aren't we seeing the results that we're striving for? Why aren't we seeing the results? Why aren't we seeing the vision manifest as we have it on paper? Another question to ask when it comes to systems thinking is, despite, well, let me ask it a different way. The better way to ask is this way. How might we be contributing to the problem we're trying to solve? Think about the C, what you want to see and what you need to solve. What is our contribution to not growing, to not getting to the next level? How do we contribute to not manifesting or realizing the vision for our organization, our business, or our company? How do I, as the leader, contribute to my team's performance or the lack thereof? And then the E, I spoke, I believe it was earlier this year in January, I believe it was, John Wygant. And I talked about this concept. The E is for exclusive. In order for organizations to get from A to a successful point B, you have to focus on one move. What is the one move? We call it the bowling ball approach. What is the one move that we need to take? In my company, I had to focus on one thing. I'm a communicator. I speak. And so all of the other ancillary things that we do, it has to be rooted and grounded, and it has to complement what is the main thing that I can do. And then from there, we have to grow the company out to hire consultants for those organizations that just want to take the concepts that I'm speaking on, take it to a deeper level. Then we hire coaches and consultants to go out and perform that work for the organization. But you have to figure out what's the one thing in your organization, the bowling ball approach. So let me explain that real quick. Many of us understand the concept of bowling. 5 minutes, I'm done. Many of us understand the concept of bowling. We've gone bowling. We understand that we stand on, in this kind of this runway, right? And there's a line that is scratch line, and probably about 30, 40 feet down are 10 pins. Everybody look at this, 10 pins, 10 different bowling ball pins. These pins represent opportunities. These pins represent challenges and capacity growth. It represents everything you need to do. But no one on here has ever thought, wow, there are 10 pins. I need to go find 10 bowling balls to knock these 10 pins down. Nobody has ever gone and got 10 balls. Can you imagine walking with 10 bowling balls, trying to balance them? See, that's what happens when you're working on too many initiatives at the same time. You become lopsided. You begin to injure your own body, or injure your team, or injure your vision, or injure the relationship between you and your clients and or customers, because you have too many things and you're more focused on balancing them than you are solving those 10 pins. However, when each and every one of us goes bowling, we use one ball to knock down 10 pins. Now, in our organization, when I'm coaching people, I help people to organize those 10 pins. Another concept of the bowling ball approach is when you go bowling, normally, no one is asking, how do I knock down pin number 10? Normally, no one is focused on pin number 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. No one is focused on the back row or the middle row of the pins. We're focusing on pins number 1 and 2, or pins number 1 and 3. And then when you begin to take that one bowling ball and you position yourself on that runway, when you position yourself in a way and aim that ball and throw it with such a velocity, you're hoping that if you hit adequately pins number 1 and 2, or pins number 1 and 3, that those front pins will begin to ricochet and knock down the other pins. You see, in your organization, if you were to slow down, even with COVID, and look at all of the 10 pins that are impacting your organization now, and begin to prioritize and look at what's the one thing, what is the one thing that we can do right now that would give us the greatest momentum, the greatest edge. It's the blue ocean shift. If you've ever read the book, Blue Ocean Shift, and Blue Ocean Strategy. I can't remember the names of the authors right now. Somebody can go to Amazon and look it up and share it with the people in the chat. But Blue Ocean Shift and Blue Ocean, what's my Blue Ocean Shift? What's my pivot that I can use right now? What's the one thing that I can align my team, my leadership around? And define that vision. What do we want to see? What do we need to solve to roll this ball together? Finance, marketing, research and development, whatever are the other different staff levels that you have. How can our managers, supervisors support this? How can our front end line staff support this bowling ball? In other words, everything that they do pushes the ball. So now your meetings are not about 10 different bowling balls. Your meeting is, how are you impacting the bowling ball? How is the finance, the marketing, the CFO impacting? How is our marketing impacting the bowling ball? Therefore, now everything begins to come into alignment. Everything begins to come in alignment. So the S in the STEP model that we use is for see and solve. The T is for thinking or systems thinking. We look at how your organization operates and how you're getting in the way of your own success. Those blinders, because you're working in the business, not on the business. And sometimes even when we're working on the business, we still have blinders and we lose focus on what's possible. And then the E is for exclusive, where we get the bowling ball approach. And the P in our STEP framework is for performance. Now that we know what we need to solve, we know what we want to hit over the next 12 months, we know that one move. We know how our systems work and what we need to do and shift our systems and policies and what we need to transform those things. Systems. Now we want to look at the behaviors. We want to look at performance. And here's the thing you need to ask yourself. And this is, I'm going to give this last one. I said 5 minutes. I know it's probably been 7 minutes, but I'm a preacher too. You all missed that, huh? And preachers, when we say we're getting ready to close, that means nothing. That just means, just stay seated for a little longer. We'll get there in a minute. So ask yourself, with a company running at this level in 12 months, if 12 months from now was now, what kind of leader would be able to sustain that growth and take it to the next level? What type of mindset, beliefs, behaviors, and language would that kind of leader have to sustain that growth and move it to the next level? You begin to come up with this list. I'm reading this book, by the way, by David Novak. I reached out to him and we've been kind of chatting and following each other on Instagram. Everybody get this book, Taking People With You. I told him I've already bought a couple of his books for my team, and I'm selling his book even more. So I hopefully he'll give me a royalty or something for promoting it. I'm teasing. David Novak, he's the chairman and the founder and former CEO of Yum Brands, where we know Pizza Hut and KFC, Taco Bell, those big health restaurants that we often eat at. And he was talking about, imagine that some hot shot came and took over your company. I want you to think about this, and this will be my last point. Some hot shot came and just took you out of the way. Barry, you're not taking this business where it needs to go. I'm going to get us there faster. And I'm going to show people how to lead. I'm going to show people all the decisions that you did not make. I'm going to make them. I want you to imagine that leader is leading your company now, because they have a 12-month goal. They know what they need to see and what they need to solve. What decisions would they be making? What would they let go of that is no longer relevant to the organization? How would they be leading forward in COVID right now? What would they not be worried about? What opportunities would they be accessing and taking advantage of right now if they had your position as business owner? What would you be doing? What would they be doing? And you write a list. I thought I was coming up with a list of 5. I came up with a list of 28. 28. 28 things that this hotshot leader would be doing to take BEK Impact Company to the next level. And boy, was it a slap in the face. I tell you, it was the biggest slap in the face, folks, when I looked at all of the things that I'm not doing. What would that person, and if for nothing else, I want you to take that activity, and I want you to think about that right now. After you define your goal, I want you to get clear. And then I want you to go back and say, what would this hotshot leader and entrepreneur and business owner, if they took over my company, how would they set the goal? What goal would they set right now? Would it be as small as you have it? Because we normally reduce vision down to manageable proportions. But what goal would they set if they had your position? If they kicked you out right now and fired you, what decision would they make? What vision would they set for the organization? How would they cast it and get people fired up for the vision right now? I want you to think about it. So I don't know if I think I'm still on time, Stephanie. Am I good? I'm good? Okay. So this is the STEP model. And I wanted to share with you because it's something that has changed my life personally. It's what has grown our company to where it is now, and it's going to take us to the next level. Is when we get serious about leadership, when we get serious about who we are as leaders, and when we understand that our companies, our organization, our teams are the same size that we are. And if we're not happy or satisfied or fulfilled by the size, then it's us growing. It's John Maxwell's the law of the lid. We already know about that. It's us growing from a 6 to an 8 and making that. And then you're connecting your growth with the systems and the structure of your organization and the team. Because when you grow, your team grows. And a lot of times, and I'll say this, a lot of times we grow, but our teams don't grow. And when we grow, we put more demand on our team, but our team's capacity hasn't been expanded. And so with our growth, we must also realize that it also pushes our team and sometimes even our clients and customers to grow. Sometimes you're going to find out as you're growing, there are some clients and customers that you do not need to go after. There are some that you need to be okay with letting go so that you can pursue more of the target, more of your niche audience. So ladies and gentlemen, listen, that's my time. I'm going to put in the chat here my information if you want to reach out to me. I'm trying to paste it in there. For some reason, it's not pasting. If you want to reach out to me, I'm going to put my calendar link in there. I don't know what's going on. I'll get in there in a moment. But while I'm doing that and getting the link, I know, Stephanie, please let me know how I'm supposed to do this with the Q&A.
Sure. Steph, do you want to do that?
You got it. Okay, so we do have a couple questions now, and as we're going along, if you'd like to add some more to the chat, feel free to do so. So Barry, you talked about 2009 being a tough year for you, finding a job in 2011, and you know that the struggles that you and your family went through on your journey between working at a job and fulfilling your vision. So how did you find the courage to finally take that leap and start your own business?
Great, excellent question. Thank you, Stephanie. So one of the biggest things, as I mentioned before, and again, not to get too religious, not here to convert nor proselytize, but my faith in God was everything, folks. And jumping out was difficult. I had probably about 100 to 125. It was a small church, people that I grew to love immensely and who grew to love me and my family immensely. But I had to stop lying to myself. And it was one of those things that we hear all the time in motivational speeches. It was the, do I want to live with regret? Do I want to live with regret? Or do I want to live with the opportunity and say, at least I tried? And it was me, again, the clarity and the conviction. I stopped looking for consensus because I knew I wasn't going to get it. If I told people what I was in my heart, I would have been talked down. People would have said, nope, that's not it. You're called to do this. But it grew so, and I had to be true to that vision. And I encourage everyone to be true to the vision that you have. What is, if you're waking up with it, sleeping with it, going out with it, if you're watching TV and you see things and you're inspired by what other people are doing, you're watching a YouTube video, you're hearing an inspirational talk, you're reading a book, and you keep seeing yourself, you need to pay attention. So I guess I'll just say that to everyone. Pay attention to what's talking to you from the higher realm, whatever that higher realm is for you. Pay attention to it.
Great, thank you. So once you took that leap and decided to follow your dreams, and was it easy from there on out? Do you struggle with any doubts at any point in time, or is it just like, yes, you're on the path and now it's, you got it?
Listen, I wish I could say that, Stephanie. Great question. I struggle now. Sometimes I still want to put in my resume and go get a job from, just call Bobby and say, Bobby, anybody Corona hiring? Sometimes I want to do that. But again, going back to that conviction and that clarity that I have, I still do. And again, I have people who surround me, who speak into my life, who encourage me and who support me quite often. But even making that transition, it was not easy at all. But the interesting thing is, once I made the leap, is what I saw. It's not what I accomplished, but more of what I saw. More became clear for me when I moved on. Because while you're here, you're struggling to maintain, and you're indecisive, you're uncertain, you're living in that world. But once I moved away, my eyes, kind of the awareness of my vision became that much more clear. So it's not what I walked into. I didn't walk anything for a few months after that before I got another big contract in 2017. So I moved on from pastoring in 2016. And in 2017, I got a big contract. And I'm going to put my link. I finally got it up here. So I'm going to put the link there in the chat box. Anybody, just go ahead and click that. And again, I don't want to sell you on anything. I don't need to be your coach. But if you just want me to guide you through some things, I'm going to give everyone 45 minutes for free. Whoever wants to sign up with me, just click that and get on my calendar. But that's what happened, Stephanie.
And Mary,
is I knew I had to move forward. Yes, Bobby.
I want to clarify, Stephanie, when we send out the recorded message, can we put that link in in your email?
We sure can.
That I get it. Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Barry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it.
So Barry, you talked about getting a large contract from the county. That was kind of the first big thing where you're like, okay, I can do this. Where do you source your clients from? How did you go in your entrepreneurship? Do you use any specific marketing tactics? Are you word of mouth? How did you build your business?
Great question. So number one, I often say you have to understand who you are. And that's first, and then understand who your client is. Who is your real client? And we, again, there's so many books on this. I'm not even going to attempt to try to teach over this. And a lot of books, again, a lot of videos we can watch on this. But getting clear, who is my ideal client, and being true about it. And a lot of mine, I hate to say it, it wasn't based off of strategy, more so what it was kind of just being in the right place at the right time, kind of divine intervention for me. And I wish I could say I had a strategy in the beginning. I didn't at all. I'm really just now kind of adding a little bit more structure and strategy to it to take it to the next level. But again, the number one thing was getting clear on what I do. Getting clear on my messaging and speaking to the pain, looking at what is the pain I solve, not necessarily my service, not necessarily my coaching or consulting, strategic planning, none of that, but what's the pain I solve, and what's the pain that people have, and looking at your clientele, looking at your customers, what is their pain? And what's the pain you're attracted to that you do naturally? I can solve that. That's what people want, because in that comes your conviction. And people are attracted to people who have a conviction about bringing solutions to pain.
For sure. Another thing that you mentioned was needing to have the structure in place for your business to grow. So can you handle 10 more clients? What would you do with that another $10,000 a month, etc.? So how do you set up your structure to ensure its sustainability?
Great. So we're in a process right now, my coach and I saw that he's on here, Mr. Don Carthorne. We're working right now on a level, and sometimes we have income levels and not people levels. And in other words, one of the things we had a financial goal written out, and it was on my board, and it's on my notes, it's on my computer. And on Saturday, we were just talking about, no, let's look at structural goals, not looking at, I want to hit, yeah, you want to have that financial goal. That's good. You want to have that, but more so moving toward it through structure, because what we tend to do is use what we have, right? And Einstein, we know it said 1,000 different ways, but you can't go to the next level with the same mind that created the level that you're on or got you to the level you're on. And so you have to look at, again, going back to the T in the STEP model, is what are the systems that support this number. What are the types, and we have to go through each position. Maybe you need to hire new people. Maybe you need to restructure your organization and move the person that was with you from the beginning who, you know, they helped you get where you are and you don't want to let them go. Maybe you need to remove them or reassign them within the organization. So these are some very, very important issues that you have to look at. Again, a lot of people don't. And so we need people around us. Listen, I'm a coach, but I have a coach. I have someone to help guide me through this. And so I would even recommend just find someone to help you see that, to understand, to look at it from the structural perspective and a systematic perspective, a systematic perspective of what you need to solve and what does that structure look like? What supports that? Look at your CFO or your finance division. Are they capable of handling numbers? What type of structures financially need to be put in place? What type of systems to move your client from here to here faster? And a lot of times, again, we don't look at that. So we use what we have and we burn out everybody and we put more work on everybody to push. And so instead of adding more people, we're just trying to push this big boulder up the mountain instead of saying, hey, listen, let's chop this boulder up in fours to make the load a little lighter. So it's really looking at looking at your organization with precision, which a lot of us, we don't find the time to do that. I'll say it that way.
It's a great testimonial on the fact that you walk the talk. You're a coach and you have a coach too. You obviously see the importance of it, and knowing that we're not just, we may be great people, but we can always grow and be better. So that's awesome. The next question we have is, can you give examples of different communications of vision to yourself versus team versus customers? Do you have different vision statements?
Yeah. And it's not necessarily a different vision statement. It's one statement that communicates to everyone, but it resonates. Within a vision, you have to start with looking at those different levels. So right now we have myself, my executive assistant, my consultants, and then our clients. And when I'm sitting, and this is something you have to literally take time to do it. And I'll even ask the question, how many of you all take, 2 hours a week to sit and just process vision? Just process vision, 30 minutes a day if you can. Just to sit about what it looks like when we're there. And so looking at, because vision will also dictate to you what processes need to be in place. And so when you can speak vision, and let me break it down like this. So I look at the vision, and then I look at the outcomes, and then I look at capacity, and then I look at task. Let me say it again. So I look at what's the vision. How does this look for my executive assistant? How does this look for our consultants? How does this look for our clients that we're serving? And I get kind of just, again, get a summary of that. And then we get a statement that, they say, the tide lifts all ships. And so the vision should lift all levels of your organization. That's what you want. Your vision is your tide. You want it to lift all the levels of your organization. And so I look at the vision, get clarity on that after I define what it looks like at each level. Then I look at what are the outcomes that we want collectively and for each level. And do the outcomes inspire, and are they engaging and, satisfying and fulfilling for every level? And then what is the capacity we need to be at? And do we have the people in place to reach that capacity? And then after we look at the capacity and we start putting in growth programs, and I want to also now look at the task. What do we need to start doing now? The bowling ball approach goes from there. So I don't know if that made sense. I hope it did.
Perfect. Thank you. Does every leader need a coach? If so, what does that look like? Time commitment or financial commitment?
I'll answer it quick. Yes, whatever it takes.
Cool. Okay.
Yes, if you're a leader, you need a coach. You need a coach. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest. I won't, arguably, right? Had a coach. Actually had multiple coaches. Kobe Bryant, multiple coaches. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicholson, multiple coaches. multiple coaches to help them on different areas of their swing, different areas of their shot, of their throw, or whatever it is. Everybody needs a coach, and you need to pay whatever the cost. You need to find out what it is. And go back to the question, what would that sharp, go-getter, hot shot leader be doing? So yes.
So really what I'm hearing is you say that you could be the greatest of all time in your chosen field, but you still need to be humble enough to realize there are other people who can make you better. So that's great.
Right on.
Okay, next question. Could you repeat the 4 things to do, starting with define what you want to see?
Okay, yes. Number one is, it's the STEP framework. So STEP, what do you need to see and solve? Then the T is for thinking, where we look at the systems of how sometimes there are competing agendas, competing priorities, or unintended consequences, where you're trying to do one thing, but it's competing against another, what we call accidental adversaries, where you're doing one thing and it accidentally hindering another part of your business from growing, and it's clashing. So the E is for exclusive, which is also the bowling ball approach. What is the exclusive move? That one move we're going to focus on for the next 12 months. And the P is for performance. How do we grow our performance to execute this strategy?
Thank you. Next question. My issue right now as a business owner is hiring. I feel like I keep hiring the wrong people. How did you get better at hiring, and how did you get better at firing faster?
Well, wow. Again, a lot of books on that, a lot of smarter people who can answer that. And I think we all find our ways. Every entrepreneur, every business owner will have a different way of how they've discovered this. And I think it is a discovery more of, again, of what you want to see and what you want to solve. And really looking at what that goal is and writing down the job description based on going, again, the vision, the outcomes, the capacity, and the task. And I keep bringing up my coach because this is just recent conversations that we're having. So I'm not even trying to act like I'm an expert in all these areas. Like I said, there's coaches, books, speakers, professionals on this, and I don't want to act like I am. But in the EOS, there's something that is get it, want it, and capacity. Okay, so I'm going to go off of that. And then Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, talks about the ideal team player. And so I would look at get it, it's GWC, get it, want it, capacity, and I'll explain that in a moment. And then the ideal team player, you're looking for hungry, humble, smart. These are the best people to put on your team. Who's hungry for the vision that you've set? And who's humble? You don't want people who are arrogant, make people, they're great at their job, but they suck as a person. They're just horrible to be around, egocentric. They don't practice empathy. And then you want people who are smart. They know how to say things that are direct, but not offensive. So it's people smart. People that know how to deal with customers, that don't, say bad things. And then going back to the GWC, the get it, want it, look at people who get what you're trying to do, who want the same goal, and who have the capacity. So those 2 examples I would look at, the GWC, get it, want it, capacity. You can look at, you just Google that, EOS, and it'll pull up that. I looked at it the other day. It's really, really, really good. And then just buy the book, Patrick Lencioni's The Ideal Team Player. Excellent, easy read. You read it in 2 days.
Awesome. Next question, which this is a perfect segue. What books do you recommend to start for young people who have not run a business or are still looking for a purpose?
Great question. The book that comes to mind is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I would, if you have that book, that's a once a year read. It is a timeless book, no matter how much technology changes. And it talks about the 3 why businesses fail, basically because we're working in the business and not on the business. You have to understand that if you are a gifted person and your business is based off of your gift, kind of somewhat what mine is, one of the next move I just wrote down for one of the people, I need to find somebody that can run the business part for me and allow me to be content creator and create these solutions. And so I can speak, coach, and do the training, and then they build the business. while I like that, I think the strongest suit is for me to do what I'm accustomed to doing. But a lot of us feel that if we're the founder, that we have to run everything. And that person could be your EVP, could be a COO level or managing director, however you want to classify that, or they can just be running the business, kind of setting up like Patrick Lencioni did. The president of his consulting is actually one of my mentors, and talk to him quite often. And so he was running that. He said, Pat is the idea guy. He's a visionary guy. I'm the business guy. John Maxwell has it set up the same way. And so you have to look at, are you the rights to deliver the product? You like to build the product. And if that's the case, you need somebody to run the business part. If you're a business person and you're a model, you need someone who can design the product, create the content, or whatever it is that you're doing, your service or your product. So just kind of really, again, going back to being true to who you are and what you want to solve, the problems you want to solve.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you repeat the name of that book, please? The
E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Cool.
The E-Myth, I would start with that book.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Does a coach to help you with your business overlap as a personal coach, or do you need a personal coach and a professional coach?
So my business coach is focused on the business, but it overlaps with who I am. Because again, your business is at the size of you. And if you don't grow you, then your business can't grow. Your business is the same size as you, whether it's healthy, dysfunctional, or stuck. It always acts like its leader. And so one of the things is growing as a leader, which he pushes me to do that. Then again, I get more awareness. I break the limiting beliefs in me. And instead of operating at 6, I see at a 10, but I operate at a 6. Then I begin to find out what are those areas within me. And so over the past 3 weeks, again, just being fully transparent with each and every one of you, I had probably one of the greatest breakthroughs of my entire entrepreneurial life by working through with my coach. I've been working with him probably right about a year. And it wasn't until 3 weeks ago that I had this, life-changing breakthrough. And the decisions that I began to make in the moment, I let people go, marketing people that were too slow, that weren't moving me to the next level, where this guy was my friend. I'd known him for a long time and he's helped me, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So absolutely, a coach can be both coach and business coach. But if you want to grow your business, don't get a life coach, get a business coach who can help you on the personal part as well.
Thank you, Barry. Those were all the questions submitted today.
Awesome.
Barry, I just want to take a moment and say, wow, once again, I've got so many pages and notes, and I got to review them. I mean, this is awesome. I loved how you shared from the heart that in 2009 you were basically broke, and now at 2011 you had some odd jobs, but 2020 now, success is right there. And it's not a destination, it's a journey. I love the analogy about the train. I've got so many things in here. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, from all the businesses here, and not just the ones that are on here, but the people that are going to pull the YouTube channel down and be able to watch things in the future. But great wisdom. Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, all of you that are on the call, you will be receiving an email with this recording and many of the highlights and some of the links that Stephanie's going to put in there for you. But I did want to go ahead and go to the next slide if I could. And for those that may not be a member yet, or if you know a neighboring business, maybe one of your vendors, maybe somebody that works directly with you or a client, please refer them to our chamber family. We want to grow our organization, be able to help more and more businesses. Robert Yanez is our expert in this area. He's the membership development specialist. And for those people that do refer, you do get an ad in our publication, in the next available publication that's printed that goes out. It's called the Corona Business News. So it's real important if you want to do some marketing as well. And that's just a small way that we say thank you. Our next seminar that we have coming on up regarding NLP is with Paul Webb. It's an organization that we have partnered with that teaches he's a master trainer with NLP, over 43 years of sales training experience. And this one will be session number 6, which is personality types. Paul will go through a review of the first 5 that we did for the year, but this will be the last one that we have, and that'll be on November 5th. We encourage all of you to go ahead and plug into that if possible. And then the last announcement that I'd like to make is that next month we're honored to have Dean Safe share his expertise with Coffee with the Entrepreneur. He is the owner and operator of CarStar All-Star Collision. He is our current Citizen of the Year and a gentleman and a scholar, just an excellent individual who has some great insights. And he's going to share how he came over to this country and became a citizen of the United States and living the American dream. So that'll be on Monday, November 9th. And we encourage you to go ahead and register in on that right now. And we thank you all so much. Barry, on behalf of the business community, our board of directors, our membership, thank you. Thank you so very much. All of you have a great day. We're officially adjourned.